Today, I'm going to give you 6 keys to build your business infrastructure from your heart and from your energetic field. This is important because I see a lot of coaches out there and they have no infrastructure. You barely have an offer, your offer's not clear, and you don't have a lead magnet that has enough power to carry your divine genius. So today this is Thursday, I talk about how to build things on Thursday. So I'm going to talk to you about how to build your infrastructure. But again, I'm going to be talking about it from your energy field, from your heart place, from your heart space, because that's where you have to begin. If you don't begin in the energetic field, whatever you're building in the three-dimensional world is not going to be rooted in what is sound and what is true for you. And my friend, it is a process to build these containers. So don't rush it. Don't go into this with the attitude of, I need to get this done. That's not going to be the thing that brings you the results that you want. So let's get into what we're talking about today. In sacred geometry, the container determines what can be held. A vessel that has holes cannot hold water, regardless of how much water you keep pouring into it. So it's also important to understand that if you have a vessel that's too small for the content, it's going to overflow regardless of the quality. So it's important to understand that your business is a vessel. And right now, your vessel is sized exactly for whoever is running your business right now. For many of you who follow my show, it's one person, and that's you and your capacity. Your business is going to be built from your own hands. It's going to be maintained by your own energy, and it's dependent on your continuous presence in order to function. So the power that you carry is significantly bigger than the vessel that you have. Your gifts are larger than the vessel. The income that you are meant to generate, the clients that you're meant to serve, and the impact that you are meant to create, all of it is larger than what the current container can hold. Are you starting to feel where there might be some internal cognitive dissonance? You are larger than life, and yet you can only do so much. So I want you to approach the act of building your infrastructure like it is something that is sacred. It is the deliberate construction of a vessel that is worthy of the power that it is meant to carry. Your systems need to be able to hold the operational weight of your energy. I be building me some vessels, y'all. I be building me some vessels. Websites, landing pages, I build them. I build them myself because they are too big to be passed on to just anybody. I do have a team. Well, I said that wrong. I don't build them myself. I put my energy into them. I write the content. My energy is there. It is infused. My team gets it. My team receives the fullness of what I bring. I also use AI, which is really, really good because it can meet me at the level of my immense energy, my immense gifts, my immense offerings. So you need the systems that can hold your energy so that you're freed up to do the work that only you can do. You need your platforms to deliver your genius while you're sleeping. You need your team members to execute stuff and to do it well so that you don't have to focus on doing what they're doing. You can go focus on the other things. My team is exquisite. My team is curated. My team is well trained. They are intelligent, and they do what they do very well. And that means that I can come here and actually give myself completely to my live stream. Right now, I have my very capable Zaina running the show. She's literally running the show. And she is so capable. And because of her, I can come out here and focus on my message and making sure that I don't leave anything out, making sure that what is important comes through. And today we're talking about undercharging, which I know a lot of you are doing. But we also have to understand why you undercharge and how to not undercharge anymore. So you need structures. You need structures so that you can stop doing all the things and start doing the one thing that you need to do in order to be at your best, right? So you need structures that allow your business to breathe and grow and generate income independently of whether you showed up at your desk today or not. And this is not the unsexy practical work that happens separately from the spiritual work of building a soul-led business. It's the physical expression of the belief that your work is valuable enough to be in a glorious container that can hold it, that can sustain it, that can take it to the world so that they can hear and see you. That you and your gifts deserve a business that is built to last rather than one that runs entirely on your personal fuel until that fuel runs out. So welcome to the Spiritual Business Hour with Crystal Lynn Bell. I'm Crystal Lynn, and I'm a spiritual business mentor. I help women coaches who have accumulated significant insight and experience, but who are missing the infrastructure that brings consistent income. My purpose is to guide them to convert their wisdom into revenue. The way I do that is I diagnose where their business is failing right now, and then together we build the sustainable systems that bring them paying clients every single month. That's what you need. Paying clients that come into your world every single month. So you have gifts and expertise, and you have a calling, a divine calling. You have divine genius, and that is worth building a business around, okay? But right now, the power that you have is running through a structure that was never really thought through. Your structure depends on you personally, continuously, without interruption, being in that business, doing all the things, right? You're the website and the content and the client delivery, and you're the tech support, and you're the follow-up, and you're the admin, and you're the social media, and you're the sales conversations, and you're also the one who has to motivate yourself so that you can actually like keep going, right? So all of it flows through you and only you. So if you don't have a structure that actually supports the vastness of what you have to bring, you're not going to be able to ever scale. You can't rest and you can't grow beyond the limits of your own physical container. And this is a problem, my friend. Okay? This is a problem because when you're doing everything, you cut off your magnetism. Your magnetism needs you to be still. Your magnetism needs you to tune in, to listen, and to become radiant. Your magnetism needs you to be all operations, all systems go. You cannot be spread too thin doing all the things. Your business earns in direct proportion to how hard you push it. So if you're pushing, like doing all the work, when you stop, the business stops. You can't operate like that, my friend. Your energy is required in order to keep your business going. You need to be able to focus on being rather than doing all the things. So if you're under earning in your business, it's not because your work isn't any good. It's because you don't have a structure around your work that can generate income regardless of your personal effort. So that's not a talent problem, that's an infrastructure problem. And infrastructure problems are solved by building infrastructure, not working harder inside the business that has no infrastructure. So you're going to have to make a decision and start building infrastructure. So the very first thing you're going to do, number one, you're going to start with an audit, okay? And you're going to make it as sacred and connected to your soul as you can. So before you start building anything new, you definitely need to know what is running through you that you don't necessarily need, or things that are not in alignment. Like, you know how people hate to get audited by, for example, the IRS, or by the IRS. Nobody wants to get audited, right? Why? Because the IRS comes in and looks at the details of how you're keeping your books, what you're spending on, and they hold a certain type of authority. And that authority is pretty much inescapable. They don't say, you can't escape death or taxes for no reason, okay? What I want you to do for yourself is to assume the role of the IRS in your own business. You are going to be the true Internal Revenue Service, where you are looking at your own internal revenues, all right? I want you to audit your own business. I want you to sit down and document every single task that you personally handle. You're going to look at the emails. You're going to look at the posts that you create. You're going to look at the tech. I really want you looking at the tech, because there's so many of you that are either overdoing the tech, you're focusing on the tech, and it is taking you away so much from your creation, or you're avoiding the tech and it's preventing you from moving forward. So you got to look at that. You need to look at the administrative function. You need to look at the content creation. You need to look at follow-up systems. You need to look at how you're marketing, all right? And this is about looking and understanding what it is you're doing, and then being able to identify what you could pass off or where you're wasting time. That's what it's going to come down to. Where you're putting in time, but you should not be putting in time, or you're using it to distract yourself. You're putting time in over here so that you don't have to put time in over there. Most coaches, I think, would be really shocked by how much of their personal energy is going into work that has nothing to do with their gifts, right? So what you're going to find in this list of things that you're creating is the raw information about like how and what you need to build your infrastructure around first. Everything you're doing does not require your unique genius, okay? It doesn't require your divine genius. It doesn't require your divine voice. And it doesn't require your personal coaching presence, which is what you went to school for and invested all that money in, okay? You're not even using it because you're working on a funnel, or you're working on trying to figure out your tech. So do your audit. That's the first thing. Number 2, I've got 6 things. So this is number 2. Number 2, I want you to identify what only you can do. Okay. So once you have that full list, you're going to separate it into 2 columns. The first column is going to contain everything that genuinely requires your voice, your wisdom, your presence, your specific creative intelligence, your divine genius. Those are things like your coaching sessions, your live streams, your content creation, your high-level strategic decisions, your client relationships. These are activities that belong only to you. Nobody else can do them. They should not be passed off to anybody else. So that's the first column. And in the second column, it's going to be everything else, okay? Everything that could be done by a system, a platform, a team member, or a documented process without your personal involvement, all right? That second column is your infrastructure roadmap. Everything that's in it is something your business is currently taking from you. Your business is taking from you, and that is inappropriate. All right. You should not be giving everything to your business. You have to learn how to delegate. All right. Number 3, you got to automate what you can automate. Now, I want to be very honest with you. I am very good at this. If you are not reaching out to me, asking me questions, dropping questions in the comments, you are wasting this valuable resource right here. And I love sharing about this stuff, okay? I'm a walking like bank of knowledge right here. And I'm offering myself to you here on the show. Leave comments, and I will get back to them. Send me a private message. I will answer it. But let's get you functioning in your highest capacity. So number 3 is that you need to automate. So technology is your friend, period. Full stop. Technology is your friend. But really, it's one of the most underutilized infrastructure tools in the coaching businesses, because coaches are not aware of how to use it and that it can do so many things. But here's the problem. While so many of you are doing things the hard way, I'm almost kind of glad that you are doing them the hard way, because you're learning by doing things the hard way. But you would learn more, better, if you didn't do things the hard way. And you don't have to do your technology alone. Again, reach out to me. This is my specialty. I am very, very, very good at it. And you know what else? This is not even a humble brag. This is a straight up brag. I produce beautiful work. I have an aesthetic. Number one, I naturally have an aesthetic. Okay. I love design. Since I was a kid, I loved design and art. Okay. And then when I was in my 20s, I went to a very prestigious art school. I learned graphic design and I bring that to the work that I do. So, yes, aesthetics are important to me. Everything that I do is based on some kind of aesthetic principle. You may not like what you see on this screen, but it was designed with intention. The colors were chosen with intention. The background is chosen with intention. It was chosen for me. This is my live stream. You would do your live stream in an aesthetic that feels great to you, but you also want the thought that's behind it, all right? AI is so great at helping us move things along so that we can actually show up with our best dreams, with our hopes, our dreams, our desires. It helps us show up with these things, and we're able to, give birth to our dreams and desires. I think that is so important. I'm happy to help you do this for yourself. All right, now, infrastructure and automation. I think that like a lot of coaches don't understand the power of technology, but then in my experience, they make the wrong decisions around their technology all the time. Like so many coaches have Go High Level and they have no idea of how to use Go High Level. And they don't understand that when they sign on to get Go High Level, they all of a sudden have to know how to build a website. You have to know how to do that. You have to know how to design. You have to know how to set up the automations, which are incredibly complex. Okay. Look, now I'm getting ready to do I'm not pitching, but I'm going to share with you the fact that I have my own agency. And if you are a coach and you don't want to have to deal with Go High Level, come to my agency, reach out to me, let's talk, because my team is trained on how to run Go High Level at a very, 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 very high level. And if you want to work under my agency instead of doing it all yourself, you will get the support. So I'm just throwing that out there. You all have probably never heard me talk about my agency. I've never talked about my agency publicly. People who are in my program know about my agency and they're using it. I never talk publicly about it, but I do have an agency, and there you go. You have an invitation to talk to me about it and learn. Send me a private message if you want it. All right, now I'm back on track. So coaches, it's a lot to take on. All that stuff is a lot to take on. It was a lot to take on back in 2011 when I got certified, and it's even more to take on now in 2026. Even though we have AI, it's like, AI helps you do more. Yes, it does. But at the same time, there's also much more to do. There are more platforms, there's more content that you need to create, there are more opportunities, there's just more. So yes, that needs to be managed. But while you're in the process of doing things, a lot of coaches really put off those important decisions. They're trying to get through this launch. They're trying to get through this next busy season. They're trying to generate some income so that they have this, a flow of cash flow. things are not going to slow down, right? So you have to actually go about building out your automations and building out the vessels of your business deliberately. You have to dedicate focused time, and you need to have a clear understanding that every hour spent building it now saves you hundreds of hours in the months that follow. I am not exaggerating. So, making sure you're doing things in the right order, making sure you're building the right things, all of that matters. And giving it the time now means that it is done for you in the future. Now, I know a lot of mentors and coaches say things like, oh, just get your offer out there. Just launch your offer and start bringing people in. I hear that and I understand the value of getting people in and getting some money in. I do. But the problem is that when you get people in, you are then serving the deliverables for those people. You're doing that work. You know what's not happening? Your content is not being created. Why? You're focusing on taking care of those clients. Your next launch is not being planned. Why? Because you're too busy doing the things that you need to be doing. And if you had the systems built, those systems would be working while you're doing the deliverables for your clients. That's the way a business should be built. Too many coaches are putting the cart before the horse, and then they burn out because they don't have consistent systems, consistent money coming in, consistent client flows coming to their offers. They're rushing. And I understand that you need cash flow. I do. But at the same time, you need to understand that that's a vicious cycle. It's a vicious cycle. You're getting cash flow, but at the same time, you're not building infrastructure. And that is painful. You might as well just give yourself a job. All right. So that's a different episode. Let me get back on track here. All right. Let me move on to number 4. Number 4 is to document before you delegate. This is really important. One of the biggest infrastructure mistakes that coaches make when they first begin building a team is that they start delegating tasks that have not been actually documented. And I have some students who are periphery, meaning they have one toe in my program and one toe in another program. I don't have a lot of students that are allowed to do this, but there are a couple of people that are doing it, and I'm just supporting them through it as best as I can. They are not getting my best, all right? They are getting what I give them, and they are grateful for that, and I'm happy to support them in that way. But I'm also watching them, and I'm like, there are great people who come through and they do the process, and they are the prime examples of doing things well. And then there are the other people who are prime examples of how to not do things. I don't want to say I'm enjoying watching people do things wrong, but there is a certain satisfaction that I derive from being validated in what I know is right when somebody is doing things so wrong and I watch them fall on their face over and over again. I use that as a learning experience. Now, these people are mirroring my old story. The reason I know that they're doing things wrong is because I did what they did. I did not document all of my failures. I lived them. Some of them I did document because it was important to document my failures, but I couldn't get it all down. Okay. But what these people are doing is failing, and I am watching. I'm giving them corrective information, whether they won't receive it. Very often they're not receiving it because they're in it and they've already bought into programs that have sold them to do things that they should not be working on. If you are not a coach and you don't have any clients, you should not be hosting a summit as your very, very first endeavor. You don't have any clients, you don't have a program, you don't have anything that comes after the summit. You don't even have an email list. You don't even have a funnel. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? It doesn't make any sense. That's a mistake. So look, we are all entitled to go on our journeys. I did things the hard way. Okay. Do I regret it? Do I regret it? I don't regret it. I do see where I did things wrong. I see where I did things wrong. And you could not have told me, well, actually, honestly, if you had told me, if anybody had told me the big picture, if anyone had told me the big picture, then I definitely would have listened and I would have done what they said. Nobody told me the big picture because nobody was teaching the big picture. They all wanted to teach parts. They wanted to sell me on parts. And that's the issue. That's the issue, man. Let me get back on track here, my friend. So number 4 is for you to make sure you're documenting your processes before you pass them on to your virtual assistant or even on to your web designer. You want to make sure that whoever you're passing things on to, you don't want things just in your head. You want processes for people to follow. So part of what you do right now should be to document your processes. Here's a smart use of AI. Tell AI what you're doing and have AI write out the process for you. It's really, really good. Even if you, like what I do, I use Otter to dictate something, right? When I'm recording something, whenever I'm recording a class or a training session, Otter takes down everything that's said on that training session. And then I give that to Claude. And then Claude turns it into a process. Otter turns it into a process too, but I don't think Otter is as efficient or as thorough as Claude, and I don't give Otter my whole business plan. It just gets what it gets. Claude has my whole business plan, so when it gets a training, it has the whole reference of where it belongs and how it, the language that I use and all those things like that, so it can really organize things in a beautiful way. So making sure you have your processes documented is really going to be important before you delegate anything. Make sure those processes are written out step by step. Make them specific. Don't be super broad. Okay. Make sure they're specific so that someone who has never done it before could actually follow the instructions and give you the results that you want. This documentation is a form of infrastructure. It's also a form of intellectual property. This is how you value your divine genius. Everything you're doing needs to be documented so that you can share it. All right. This, by the way, also is going to make you able to scale your business. All right. Number 5, I want you to hire for your weakness, not for your preference. Okay. So most coaches are going to make their first hire based on what they find to be the most annoying thing to do. All right. That is a reasonable starting point, but it's not always the best decision. So you want to hire, you want the hire that you make to be the thing that frees up your personal energy for the work that generates the most impact and income. So, if you're a solo woman coach, this means looking at where your biggest gap is between kind of like what your business needs and what you are able to provide. So, for example, if tech is consuming, let's say, 10 hours a week of your personal energy, and it's only giving you mediocre results, all right? The mediocre results is the important part. Then your very first hire needs to be a tech person. 10 hours a week is a lot on tech. And honestly, 5 hours a week is a lot to be spending on tech. And if you are honest with yourself, you will probably find that you're spending at least 5 hours a week on tech. Now, content distribution is another area where, you don't need to be posting and scheduling your stuff. Let somebody else do that for you. Get support on social media. That's a great place to leverage your time, free up your time, and make that's a big decision, but it's a good one that will go a long way for you. If you can have, like, I've got my team is on social media regularly. They are becoming masters of how to do social media, but it's a process. It's a process to work with the algorithm. And while you want to know what the process is, it doesn't mean you need to be doing the process. So making sure that you have someone on social media first would be really, really good. Here's my last point, my last key. Build the infrastructure that allows you to rest. Your rest. What's going to support your rest? So the ultimate test of whether your infrastructure is working is really, really simple. Can you take a week away from your business without your business stopping? Can you rest without the income stopping? Can you get sick, take a vacation, or just take a break without the whole thing grinding to a halt? If the answer is no, then the infrastructure is not yet complete, because a business that stops when you stop is still running entirely on your personal fuel rather than on a structure that can sustain itself independently. So understand that building like this is not going to happen overnight. It happens through the deliberate sequential construction of the systems, all right? The automations, the documented process, and the team support. All that together comes together, and it creates a scalable business that can allow you to rest and relax a bit. All right. Is that all I want to say about that? I think it is. That's it for today. Thank you for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up, give it a reaction, give it a heart, leave a comment, let me know you're here, #live, #replay. Those things help me a lot. Share this video with a friend, and yeah, there you go. All right, my friend, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And have a wonderful, wonderful day. Okay, bye for now. Mwah. Bye, friend.